It goes live. There we
Well, we're live,
go.
yes.
We're live. We're live. Hi, everybody. It's Thursday, which means it is time for Trekker's Delight. And we are going to have a special show for you today because we are actually pivoting and we are going to be talking about Tapestry because our very own William Wofford, future Trek star, is no longer in his 20s. He's a big boy now, ladies and gentlemen. He is 30 years old today. So he asked that we do Tapestry, and that is what we are going to do. I'm sure Keith also has some really amazing news for us. And yeah, that's where we're going. So, beautiful bean footage.
Roll it.
Every other vote.
I mean, I just want to know what we're going to be ready. Oh, wait, we're going live.
Here we are. Welcome once again to Trekker's Delight.
Like, literally, my mic falls down just as we go live. Hi, everybody.
Why is that person not even moving behind you?
That's what you're paying attention to?
On a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh my god, no.
Love that baseball and the teacup. Like, clearly, TNG DS9 fans.
Which was a nice touch.
The moans.
The moan.
No, everybody, this is actually one of the main screenwriters for Prodigy, so we are super excited to hear from you. And
No one
also,
listened.
I'm a little embarrassed for being as critical.
Man, I really love that intro.
I love that last line about, man, I really love that intro, right? Like, I mean, that may or may not be William, self-aggrandizement right there.
Yeah, which we'll give a pass on today. It's okay
Right, but
for
we're going to be
today.
stuck with this intro for a minute. So, like, we're going to mock that a lot going forward. We're going to mock that a lot. So, all right. I guess, Keith, what do we want to do? Do we want to start with news or do we want to go into
Well,
Tapestry?
Well, let me do like the basics on Tapestry real quick. One reason that William wanted to talk about today is we were discussing what to do this week, and I pointed out that this past weekend was the 24th anniversary of Far Beyond the Stars from Deep Space Nine, and then I looked up what is the anniversary today, and today, February 15th, as we're recording, is the 31st anniversary of Tapestry airing in Next Generation.
So it's only a year older than William.
Yes. So
I feel even older now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine. I don't mind interruption as long as you're not blocking me out. But we won't go there. Okay.
No. The bitterness. Anyway. So yeah, Tapestry.
Yep. So yeah, that is season 6, episode 15 of Next Generation. First aired February 15, 1993. Written by Ronald D. Moore, who would go on to work on Deep Space Nine and get thrown out of Voyager before he ended up on Battlestar Galactica. And today is making For All Mankind on Apple TV Plus. And in fact, they just announced he has a new TV show that he just got the pilot. Hold on. Figure out what that was. And it is directed by Les Landau, who did a lot of
everything.
Next Generation episodes. Yeah. And this is one of the few Q episodes to not feature the letter Q in the title. I think it's like this, Encounter at Farpoint, All Good Things,
Right.
And Death Wish.
Oh gosh, I forgot about Death Wish.
That's the first.
Which is weird because we actually did an episode on Death Wish.
Yeah, it's the first episode of Voyager with Q in it.
Right.
So.
Right. Tapestry really is kind of a fun little episode, right? Because it's very much kind of like the road not traveled,
Right.
which is, I think, also partially why William wants to talk about it because we've all sort of he's at this pivotal sort of like moment in his life where you're transitioning from being in your 20s to being allegedly an adult in your 30s. I will tell you, I will not tell you how old I am, but I don't think I'm an adult. And they gave me a mortgage, people. Like,
I think I'm an adult, but I'm not happy about it.
I mean, can you really be an adult if you're just currently rocking a moopsie back there?
I can share it with my daughters.
But it wasn't for your daughters.
No, neither was this.
No. I guess that's true. As we get older, our toys get better.
Yes, yes, they do.
Certainly more expensive.
Yeah. Oh, one quick thing that's Moopsie related. Got an email today from Titmouse, the production company that makes Lower Decks. They re-released certain of their T-shirts that from last season, that ones that did very well in sales, including the Moopsie T-shirt. So it's back available on the Titmouse store for $25.
That's awesome. We really are still starved for swag.
Yeah.
We really are.
When you hear that Playmates cut the contract, and so there will be no new Star Trek action figures, and any attempts to try to get, new toy versions of phasers and tricorders and everything, like why? I've been rewatching Prodigy, as everyone should be doing right now, and their phasers and tricorders are perfect to be turned into toys. Why aren't they?
I don't know. Apparently, they just don't think that Star Trek nerds have money, and I hate to break it to them, but we do. We do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We definitely do.
Man, I keep waiting. I keep begging. I keep hoping that Lego will suddenly develop a contract with Paramount on this, because I would love to build a Lego version of the Enterprise.
Yeah.
I'm sure that. There are fan builds out there. Make no mistake. But
yeah, the Playmobil version isn't too bad. And what's that?
And the Mega Bloks isn't bad either.
Yeah, but it's nothing like Lego.
No. But yeah, back to Tapestry. So let's talk a little bit about what happens, which is in essence that Q gives Picard the opportunity to take the road not traveled.
So yeah, essentially, the cold open is Picard dies on an away mission. Well, he's shot in the chest directly, and he's brought back to sick bay, and he dies. And all of a sudden, he ends up in a room surrounded by white light, and Q in resplendent robes. It's like, Jean-Luc, you're dead.
And he's just deliriously happy about this. Like the expression on Picard's face is, no, not you, no.
Yes, welcome to the afterlife, Jean-Luc. You're dead.
Yeah, no. He's like, I refuse to believe that you are the arbiter of the afterlife.
I refuse to believe that the afterlife is run by you. The universe is not so badly designed.
Oh my God. That's such a great line.
Oh God.
Such a great line. And then Sir Patrick Stewart's voice when he does this is just, yes.
On the whole back and forth, what is going on? I told you, you're dead. This is the afterlife. I'm God. You're not God. Blasphemy. You're lucky I don't cast you out or smite you or something. Or something.
They were so great. The level of chemistry between them was just so amazing.
He in making it so, he gushes about how great it was to work with John Delancey. That they just
I can only imagine
so well.
I can only imagine. John Delancey comes across as being like a very fun dude.
Yeah.
But yes, so Jean-Luc dies, and Q gives him an option.
Well, first of all, the reason he dies, Q says, is because Picard's artificial heart has failed from this phaser, blaster, disruptor shot, whatever hit him.
Right.
His
And
bolt
why does he
leg.
have the artificial heart?
Yeah, because he was stabbed through the back by a Nausicaan when he was an ensign way
For
back then.
cheating at dumb shot.
Yes.
I mean, I've got some crazy college stories, but none of them rise to this level.
Yeah. So then we get to see this image of a young Picard with a full head of hair. See that, Nemesis? Full head of hair. I'm sorry, I said the wrong the
You
dirty
did.
word.
You did. You invoked it, man. Like, why?
Sorry. But we watch him get stabbed, and then he's given the chance to do it again. There's a book that came out a couple years ago called The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Have you heard about it?
Probably not.
So it's a fiction story about a young woman who is single, living alone, and is coming up on New Year's and looking back at her life and unhappy with how things have gone. So unfortunately, she makes a decision, and as the clock strikes midnight, she takes pills. But then it's when the clock strikes midnight, she passes out and wakes up in this library, and it's a library of her life. And she's basically given a chance to all these what ifs that she considered over the years. Like, what if I became a marine biologist? What if I had gone to France? And what if I had done that? And she's given the opportunity to experience all these different things and just try to assess where she is with her life. And it's I really enjoyed reading it. Matt Haig's had a lot of good books that have come out lately, and that one definitely stuck with me, especially since I know I've had to deal with issues of depression and everything over the past, pandemic and everything, like so many others have. As
Right.
Elmo found out, unfortunately,
Right.
past week.
Yeah, some of that was wild.
Yeah.
Some of that was wild. Like the guys that are like, "Yeah, I'm going to jail." What?
And I'm trusting that people watching this know what we're talking about. But if you're one of the few people who don't, like if you're living in Iraq, Elmo sent out a tweet, and yes, I'm still calling it a tweet, even though it's X now and something else.
I feel comfortable dead naming Twitter.
But you're uncomfortable? Or you're not?
I'm very comfortable dead naming Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, I just finished reading the Elon Musk book by Walter Isaacson too, so I have no problem, especially knowing more about
Right.
the guy.
Right.
Yeah. But he tweeted out, Elmo checking in, how are you doing? And apparently
Not
the world decided to unload on poor Elmo.
I mean, the short answer is not well.
Like, we're talking 40 million views, hundreds of thousands of replies, and yeah, not well. Such that all that week, Elmo is going on morning shows with the people from Sesame Street, and they're talking about opportunities to help people to get, chances for them to seek out help.
This is a lot, actually. Just a lot about the state of mental health in the United States. Being that Elmo is in fact Sesame Street, which is an American production. But yeah, I mean, and you're right. That it is such an interesting idea that we're talking about choice
Mhm.
and we're talking about the regrets that we feel because of these choices. And where Tapestry takes us is interesting because what Tapestry tells us is even these dark moments, right? These choices that feel so awful in the moment. And even later, right? That have negative ramifications down the line, right? Because, the artificial heart fails.
Right.
End up being so key to who we are, and who we are is important.
Mhm.
Like
I
we
mean,
are worth being here.
absolutely. And of course, with the fact that it's the artificial heart that broke down, the choice that Picard is given is get stabbed or not get stabbed. It's not go to Starfleet or not go to Starfleet. It's not, you know, end up at Spaceport Earhart or not. It's it's not
Yeah, right.
eat at Domjot or not. It's get stabbed or not get stabbed.
And it's so weird because this is the part that doesn't quite land with me. On this one is because like this idea of like if he chooses not to let himself get stabbed, right? Because the framing is that he and his buddies are all hanging out on the eve of leaving to go on about their Starfleet careers, and that's why they're hooked up at this this gambling joint with the Noskins and the Domjot, right? And the question is whether or not does Picard participate in this cheating that enrages the Noshkin, and the Noshkin then stabs him, or does he not? And obviously, in this this redo, Picard 2.0, Picard chooses initially not to, and he ends up as this minor science officer that's going literally nowhere. And I get the idea that we're talking about these moments being pivotal, these choices that we make being pivotal as to who we are. But I refuse to believe that letting yourself get stabbed is what's going to make you brave.
Yeah. And it's almost like saying that by him being coy, by him taking the safe route, he then condemns himself to take the safe route on every decision after. So when the captain of a Stargazer is killed, he doesn't take command. When every opportunity he took to be the awesome Picard we know, he no thank you. I'll just sit here.
I'm going to stay alive. And and you're right. I mean that boils down to the entirety of your life in a single choice. I don't think that's true. Now, I get that this is a conceit of the storytelling, which is, and again, the story's point is that choices matter.
Absolutely.
And in Picard's case, being willing to take those risks makes him better at being in command and makes him a better version of himself.
Well, as Kirk said very noticeably in the original series, risk is our business.
Right.
That's why we're out here.
Funnily enough, I've been watching season 1. I may or may not have finished a bottle of wine to like Devil in the Dark last night, but
that's a good pairing, yeah.
Right? It was a rosé too. Right, but I mean, but I also refuse to believe that like I do think there are watershed moments in our lives, but I don't think that that will necessarily determine everything you do from here on out. I do like the message that you have to take risks, that nothing is ever going to be completely safe. Right. And I think that's especially important to be thinking about right now because like Will is in this watershed moment of his life where he has a wealth of choices open to him, ostensibly. And he's going to come back eventually and tell me I'm wrong, but whatever. He's going to be wrong because I'm always right. That's how this works.
Well, from my point of view, like I used to have the thought exercise of if there was one point in my life I could go back and change, what would it be? And for years, I had this idea of something that happened my final months in college, that a party I was supposed to go to, I ended up not because I was pissed off at somebody, and I should have gone and kicked that person out instead. But for years, that was stuck in my head as what I would change. Then after I read Midnight Library, I got to thinking about what I have now. And I omit I am 42 years old. And when I turned 30, like Will did today, I at that point was, my oldest daughter was at that point 10 months old. So I was a father at 30. And now looking back, after having read Midnight Library, I thought there is no decision I would make that would change having my daughters in my life.
Right.
So I would not change anything before they were born. I mean, obviously there's a lot of could change since, but
yes and no. because I really struggle with that, right? Because all of this, what would you go back and change, is predicated on having knowledge that you didn't have at the time.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that we don't occasionally make poor life choices, knowing that they're going to be poor life choices.
Right.
But generally speaking, that's not what we're doing. We're making the best decisions we can in light of the information that we have.
Mhm.
So it feels a little like cheating to ask that question, I guess.
Yeah.
And also, I don't, because I mean, I've tried to do that thought exercise, and there's not really a point in my life that I'm going to point to and saying this was a terrible idea. I mean, law school was a terrible idea, but without law school, I wouldn't have met Robert, and Robert was a terrible idea, but without Robert, I wouldn't have my boys.
Mhm.
Without Robert, I wouldn't have Trekkers Delight. Without Robert, I wouldn't have, the friends and family that I do now. And at the time, I had no reason to believe, yes, there were red flags and I'm a moron, but I had no reason to believe that he was going to turn out to be the type of person that he did. Right.
So
So I would,
essentially, Robert is you being stabbed in the through the heart. By that.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And at the end of the day, I can't regret having made the choice to believe in love, right? I can't regret having made the decision to put myself out there.
Mhm.
Now it's a whole lot harder to try now. There's the whole once bitten, twice shy phenomenon for sure.
Yeah.
And I think Tapestry is a great reminder that risk is necessary and that you do have to do that. You do have to take those risks. You do have to jump in front of that Noshkin's dagger.
Now, one thing is there is a risk that Picard takes in this second chance that he didn't take the first time around.
The relationship.
Yes.
The relationship. But we already knew that was going to be doomed. And the reason we knew that was going to be doomed is because it's Star Trek.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We can't have a stable, solid couple. Hey, Jason,
No.
welcome.
Hello, how
No.
you doing, guys?
Hey, like every single stable, solid couple that we've had has we've either watched like them have issues, or one of them has died.
Yep.
Or they end up divorced. Weirdly,
You guys talking about Tapestry?
Yes,
we
sir.
are.
Yeah. My visit's gonna be short lived. I just came up to say hi.
Yeah, William
I wanted
had
to
to
say hi.
step out for a minute, and he'll be back.
Yeah.
I ended up having to go back to the hospital today, so
Oh.
just got back a little while ago.
You okay?
Yeah, I had hemorrhoid surgery. No, I'm sorry. What's the other one? I don't know why I always get this mixed up. Hernia surgery. There we go.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole lot better than hemorrhoids, man. I mean,
Yeah, I got that
ish.
mixed up before. I haven't got it mixed up with hysterectomy surgery though, so I have
mean,
not
well
got
done.
it mixed up with
Yeah,
that.
Well done.
yeah.
But you know,
That shouldn't be a problem you have to deal with, I would say.
it shouldn't.
I mean,
Anyway.
you never know. You never know. Like, my mother developed endometrial cancer, and she had it DNA typed to find out if there was a genetic component to it. It turns out not. And she's like, "Yeah, Marie doesn't have to worry. My granddaughter doesn't have to worry." And my brother is standing over there going, "Well, why don't I have to worry?" And we all just kind of looked at him.
It's like, I guess you don't feel like you're part of the club, do you?
Right? And I'm just like, and you went to Georgia Tech, right? Did you miss basic bio? Like, because my brother's not trans, so like,
yeah.
I didn't watch. Well, actually, I ended up my day got derailed, so I didn't rewatch it because I wasn't exactly sure what we were ending up doing.
Oh, no problem.
But I had watched it before.
I know.
What we've been talking about, Jason, is a point in your life. Like Picard is given a choice on one specific point in his life that he could go back and change. And that's because of the fact the artificial heart that he gets after being stabbed is what failed and kills him at the beginning of the episode. So it's not that he's given a chance to make a choice of any part in his life. He's given a choice of one specific part of his life. And so we were kind of discussing points in our lives that we would consider going back and changing, and what is most important to us and what we were willing to have to put up with, because knowing it was a bad choice. In
Right.
hindsight.
Yes.
But in hindsight, you don't know how your life would have turned out to be either.
Right.
So
Right, but is there a point in your life? Is there something that you would change, and why?
maybe I don't want to bring it up.
That's also fair.
But yeah,
That's also fair.
There's you're on mute, William.
You are in fact muted.
How about now?
You're good.
Gotcha.
William is a 20-year-old dude.
Not anymore.
I am
Not
not
anymore.
a 20-year-old dude anymore. Hey, Kate.
If you're not a 20-year-old dude, you got to get all them people out your house, man. That's what happens.
Some of them
when you're
live there, I
30.
think.
Yeah, at this point, half of them live here. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least they
Yeah,
know so.
In my age,
No, Jason, he's in his 30s, right? Like, he's in his 30s. He doesn't hate people yet.
Yeah. Yes.
That's late 30s.
That's late
like
30s and the
30s when
40s.
I really start to hate people. Hey.
Like, when all of a sudden you have this desire to be like, what is that TikTok that's been going around? Like, where do the 30 and 40-year-olds hang out? And the answer is we don't.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we don't. We hate. I mean, Jordan
you're
Hewlett
age-
did something about this. Like,
Yeah.
Jordan Hewlett, something like this. He's like, they don't like being out late. They don't like traffic, and they don't like people. Where do you think they are?
At home. You're still at the age where you like when somebody rings the doorbell, you're like, ooh, let's go see who that is.
I don't even talk to the Amazon delivery man anymore.
Right.
I'm just like, leave that shit at my doorstep and go.
I'm in an apartment complex. So I'm like, if I'm not expecting a package, it's probably not even mine. So if you haven't called,
I mean, I've got the
Not
ring
answering.
doorbell. Someone will ring the doorbell, and I'm not talking to them unless I absolutely have to.
right.
Yes.
So that's what you got to look forward to. Anything you got to say to those guys, say it within the next year or so.
Yeah.
Because it happens. It's like the switch
Right.
flips, man. And suddenly you're just like, I could go and look cute at a bar, or I could wear my fuzzy pajama pants, drink my own booze, and watch Star Trek.
So
That
basically,
second sounds so much better.
I know, right?
yeah, you're getting there then. You're getting
Better. The amount of peace and money that you could save, like,
Mhm.
oh my god.
Yeah,
Like,
the money thing ends up you end up calculating that real quick.
yes.
So let's be real.
Yeah.
Apparently, William jumped from 30 to 42.
Right.
real quick. Like, we just said, screw these 30s. I'm jumping to 42. Like,
it's the Murtaugh meter. Murtaugh, Danny
yes.
Glover's character from.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah.
I'm getting too old for this shit. The
Right.
Murtaugh meter.
Right. Can we have a brief moment to talk about the fact that, like, he was around our age,
Right. And on that, yep.
and he's like,
right?
I'm sorry.
At the time of the first film, right?
Yeah.
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 Lethal Weapon
Like,
1.
but when he's doing this whole thing about, like, I'm too old for this shit. Like, he's 42, and I'm over here still going, like, do I buy the Optimus Prime Lego? Or do I buy the botanical Lego? Like, I mean,
Well,
and I'm
well,
like,
now,
and these people trust me with the children. Like,
Yeah, he
now
was
I'm like
41
the
when first
captain
movie.
I'm the captain behind the desk at this point. It's like yelling at him for blowing up 2 blocks.
right.
That's me at this point.
I'm gonna add that as a sound on my soundboard. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna have to punch that, like, literally every time you speak.
But yeah, because all I have now is like this one.
Right. I can't picture that, but I've definitely heard that. I picture it.
I've seen it.
I was really
I've
hoping
seen
it
it.
took me a while to crack this. I was really hoping y'all would hear that. Like, because otherwise, when I'm shocked, like every time Marie does her shock face, I'm gonna press this. Girl, what the fuck?
You're gonna get us banned.
I really am.
Like,
Is it true that I'm not gonna say as I get closer that you just start caring less? Like,
Yeah.
not that you're a careless person, but that you
oh no. Like the field in which you lay your fucks.
Well,
is
caring less about what? It depends on what you're talking about. You start caring more about like little things, like that person didn't put their card away at the grocery store.
Jason's got a point here. It's paradoxical, right? And we hear the Tribble getting very angry at the random cart.
Right.
I need a triple sound. Noted. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, because he's right. Like, I do get really grumpy. I'm like, the cart return is right there. Do you know you can do damage to somebody's car? And meanwhile, I'm over here like, yeah, I don't have makeup on, but I'm totally going into this grocery store anyway. Like, whatever.
Right.
Oh, I'm on my telework days. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go grocery shopping in a pair of sweatpants that I can barely hold up. I don't care because I'm just going grocery shopping.
I mean, let's try not to go to jail for indecent exposure. However, I am gonna float that out there.
I mean, that's not
like. I mean, you live in yuppie town.
I remember there was a part in Big Bang Theory. I don't know if you've watched the show in completion, but there was this part where Sheldon said, well, someone came to Sheldon with a problem. And he says, I have a problem. And Sheldon said, does it have something to do with me? Other dude says, no. And then Sheldon says, well, suffer in silence.
Right. That's a Sheldon thing. That's a totally
Sheldon thing.
That's a Sheldon
yes.
thing. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So how far did we get in Tapestry before I came back?
Oh, Picard died.
Yes.
Well, okay. What we were doing was we discussed the broad streams of the episode, but we were getting more into the discussion of if you had a choice on something in your life, what would you change?
And it's like the reason I really, other than the fact that it is, and I'm sure you've mentioned this, Keith, that it is the 31st anniversary of this particular episode.
Yeah, I watched this live and you weren't even born yet, and it kills me.
1 year. It was 1 year off. Okay. Just 1 year. Like,
I tell you what, I wouldn't have opened that damn restaurant. That's what I wouldn't have did. There you go.
All right.
What would you have done instead?
Yeah, what would you have done instead?
Instead of doing that?
Yeah.
Probably would have went back to work sooner and saved more money, and then probably spent it all on a wedding or something silly like that. Not silly, but But yeah, I just wouldn't have did that. I don't know what I would have done instead. I just would have went back to work early. Yeah.
It's weird because I was thinking as I was climbing the mountain today, low-key rebaptizing myself or whatever, that all the mistakes that I made in my 20s, would I take that back? And then I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it. Even though a lot of it is like trauma, to which Marie, you already know a lot of.
Shadows of a Church.
Oh dear God.
I'm never letting that go.
Yeah, you're never.
I feel like in your 20s though, unless you either went to jail or caught AIDS, you haven't really made any big mistakes. They're all just learning.
Well, so
I feel like there's a story behind Keith's expression right there.
Well, what I was saying was, had I not gone through what I gone through, I wouldn't have met you guys.
Oh,
yeah.
Like it's just like kind of like the Shattered episode. Now I know that we're not big fans of Chakotay, but I will say I really loved him in that episode. I really did, because he really makes a good point to that to pre-Captain Janeway, like while she's still in the Alpha Quadrant. Hey, if you do this, it's gonna affect everybody. You're never gonna meet Kes. You're never gonna meet Neelix. Seven's never gonna come on. And et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so when I think about the people that I wouldn't have met, then I'd be like, okay, I'm not saying it's worth it what I went through, but I am saying I wouldn't take it back either.
And then she wouldn't have destroyed the Borg.
Well, true. Had she not got right, there you go. Because she had to been in the Delta Quadrant to put that virus in there, so that way Picard can finish her off in season 3.
Yep. And destroy the transwarp conduits and all that type of business.
Yeah, their mode of transportation gone. Like he said, we got here and we needed a way home. Now I'm making sure y'all don't go no damn where else.
By the way,
I really like this question of worth it.
Yeah.
Because how do you define worth it?
Are we talking about worth it? Are we talking about worth versus regret? Or
yeah, I mean, you're talking about like, I'm not sure it was worth going through the trauma that I did, but
I don't regret it either. I'm kind of
don't regret it.
Area. Like,
so what makes it worth it? I guess.
Well, it'll be worth it if you learn from it and you didn't repeat it. Then it'll be worth it. Like everyone has a different story and everyone has a different situation. I'm not saying I would want to. No one wants to go through it, but it would be worth it if you learned and you can pass the lesson forward. Then it's worth it. Because then you're preventing others from making the same type. Everyone's going to make different mistakes, but at least you can help prevent others from making the same type of mistake that you made. Would
Which
that
I guess
be?
goes back to my question, right? Like one of my earlier points, which is at the time, I mean, we're all talking about like reevaluating these choices in hindsight,
Right.
and there's no real question, there's no real way to know that like we would have had the opportunity to do something different, or it would have come out in a different way, and it wouldn't have gotten sidetracked, right? Like because there are all these thousands of choices that just sort of spider off,
Right.
But I mean, but did you really make a mistake though? You were acting with the information you had at the time.
I remember we did talk about this, about the thing. Like I had the
we did.
information that I had at the time. Did that constitute a mistake? An accident at the very least. Like what would it be? What would it be? Because this is interesting. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I mean, I don't know. I'm asking you how you would define it, is I guess what I'm saying.
Like most people,
you are the master of your fate, my friend.
The captain of my
Men at some time are masters of their fate. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves.
I'm actually glad that they recited that line in Renegades. That was really nice. It was really nice. I thought it was corny at first, and then I realized what it was from. I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
Hey, I don't know what happened. My thing dropped, but I'm gonna go anyway. I'm gonna go lay down for a bit.
Okay.
And,
hey, speedy recovery, man.
Speedy recovery.
Hope so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
And not so hard on the opioids. Got it.
That part.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be an actual bad choice. Just
stay off the oxy.
And
right.
The oxy. Yeah, and the hydro.
Right.
All right. See ya.
See ya. Okay. What would I define? Okay, that's actually a very good one.
While you're thinking about it, let me just point out. I just did another look up. Jason Alexander.
Yeah.
And the episode of Seinfeld when he realizes that every decision he made in his life was the opposite of what he should have chosen. And when he starts doing the opposite, that things start going his way. Jason Alexander was 35 years old when that episode was.
That sounds like thing 1 and thing 2.
Well, yeah.
Essentially. Huh.
But no, every instinct he ever had was wrong. So he starts trying to do the opposite, and he ends up getting a job with the Yankees. Ends up getting a girlfriend that's like a model, and yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't think I've actually seen this episode. I have to confess.
Seen it, but I want to. Yeah.
I mean, I realize this is blasphemy, but I was not a big fan of Seinfeld.
Off and on for me.
Right. I think back to the original one, and then I guess we can move on. Is if you act with the information that you have, yeah, I'm responsible for my choices. But if I'm acting on the information that I have in good conscience, then I'm doing the best that I can do. And for a lot of people, that's not an excuse, and I understand that, and that's where adulthood comes in. Like where they.
I mean, does it though? I mean, does it though? I certainly think accountability. You can take accountability in retrospect and being like, hey, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But like, at the end of the day, though, you were still making the best choice you could with the information you had and with the person you were.
Yeah, because that's the difference between taking accountability and an intentional wrongdoing, if that makes sense. It's like if I'm taking accountability for this choice that I made with the information that I had with the person that I was, versus me intentionally in doing harm, those are two totally different things, right?
Yeah.
What did you say? When we first met, the two things that define a crime, the action of a crime.
Mens rea and actus reus.
Right.
So you have to have the wrong mind doing the wrong act. Right.
And if you don't have both of them,
unless it's a strict liability crime, which is bullshit, but whatever. Right. Because our system acknowledges that your intent matters. Mm-hmm. Your mental state matters when you are acting. So, if you if you this is probably not a good example, but like if the law says that you cannot knowingly hold marijuana and you think that this thing in this bag is oregano, there's not a crime technically.
I have a friend who got in trouble for that.
What?
Thinking it wasn't what it was.
You know what? I actually have a Trek example, and I understand that we don't really like this particular season of the show, but Picard as a child, when he opened the door
Oh.
to let his mom out, and it resulted in her she did commit suicide, right?
Right.
Okay. And he blamed himself, and his father did the best that he could, even though the biography that I have it describes him as an abusive dad. But
Well, that's how Picard remembered him.
that's how Picard, right? That's how Picard
But I
was-
mean, if your dad was Gaius Baltar, what would you do?
But and in this episode, in Tapestry, it's the first time we saw Picard's father, and as an old Maurice yelling at him.
Ooh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So it's like, now, is that, I understand what Q can do, but was that like some sort of fantasy world that Q created of how crazy Picard's life would have been if, just from that one choice? Or is that like a real timeline, you think, of where Picard would have ended up had he chosen not to fight that Narsicaan?
I think it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Keith?
Let's just say he pulled him into the continuum.
Right. I mean,
like we
because
saw-
I think that the episode wants us to make the assumption that this is what would have happened based on this change.
Yeah.
Because what the episode wants to do is to make a point about, one, the power of choice, and two, the necessity of taking risks.
Yeah.
That you cannot stay safe, that you have to put yourself out there. You have to make these choices.
Yeah.
And this is also part of what I call the Picard arc, which is Picard making peace with the life that he has versus the life that he could have had. We see a lot of that focus with relationships. We see a lot of that focus with family and children.
Right.
And in a certain sense, I sort of feel like Jack's a bit of a cop-out in that. Even though I like the character. Despite the fact that I do not believe that Ed Spaliers is 20. I just don't.
Yeah. that was too much of a stretch.
Yeah, a little bit. But I think it was fantastic in the role. But yeah, I mean,
so this episode
I spent a lot of time talking to my kids, right, about choices and good choices and bad choices. And at 5, it's a lot easier to say this is a good choice and this is a bad choice, right? Like, because you end up hurt. There's a much closer causal relationship between doing something stupid and getting hurt, right? You climb on the couch the way you're not supposed to, and you fall off and bonk your head. Like, this is a natural consequence. At 42, that causal relationship is more attenuated.
Right.
So I do find myself sort of thinking about, are these good choices? Are they bad choices? And what am I and what lesson am I taking away from these things? Because I am thinking, as part of putting my life back together after, my just truly disastrous 2023, I'm trying to make better choices. I'm trying to think a little more clearly about what it is that I'm doing and be more intentional about how I go about things. I'm also trying to be better about giving myself grace for having made the choices that I did.
Once you make your point, may I make a small segue after Keith makes, because I believe Keith had something to say.
Well, I'm just going to say that this episode is basically Star Trek's take on It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes.
Of course, that was a thing of never been born, so completely remove him from the equation, versus just him becoming a more timid person.
Right.
And it's amazing that the difference of, George sees that his brother is dead, his house is a wreck, his kids don't exist, his wife is, the town is.
It's pretty devastating.
Versus Picard, he's a lieutenant junior grade science officer. Not so major on the
Right.
it's like Starfleet's been conquered by the Borg. Like that episode of Enterprise where Archer loses his memories and we cut to the future and the Xindi have destroyed Earth and everything because he
wasn't there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a great episode. Like T'Pol in that episode's amazing.
I love
and
that.
Jolene Blaylock did such a great job with it.
If Keith, you had something else?
No, go ahead.
Okay, I actually have like a very, very small segue since we have about 15 minutes left, and I know I said that I wanted to like throw this in there because we wanted to cover everything, and it's the perfect segue because and we can talk about the compare and contrast between episodes. Tony Todd is who I actually want to throw the shout out to for this particular episode. He played as Worf's brother, and he played as grown up Jake Sisko. And the segue
in the episode that makes everybody cry, and if you don't cry, you have no soul.
You have no soul. And so you already know where I'm going with this. Like
the
tapestry for TNG is what's the name of the episode, Keith? You already know where I'm going.
The
Visitor. The Visitor.
Yeah.
Like, even though Jake didn't make a decision in the matter, he felt responsible. He felt
he was quantum tagged with his father too, because he got visited by his father every so many years because of this fluctuation in the wormhole.
Yeah, going back and forth, and the only way that it could be cut is if Jake passed away.
Yeah.
And to which he did. And so, of course, in the past, or in our present, or now the past, I guess, it's no one's fault what happened. It was no one's fault. Literally no one. Like, but he still felt, and I think that's what I think the point I was trying to convey to Marie earlier. I know she got it. It's just like, you feel like you're responsible because you're tethered to this thing, but it's not your fault. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've all had situations where, we felt responsible for things that were outside of our control.
Yeah,
outside of your control.
I've got a major one that had hung over my head for a while until I finally realized I really couldn't have stopped it.
There's nothing you can do to stop it. And even though Benjamin was telling him, no, you have so much. He in a way, he lived his life. He lived his life, and now he may not remember any of it, but he gets to start over. I don't know what Jake is doing now in this new timeline. I just know what he's doing now in fanfic. Yeah, about the one where apparently Dukat has a dalliance with Garrick. Oh wow. I never told you about that. It's great. They all come back and they do like it was during COVID, and they all came back. Nina Visitor, yeah. And thank you. Basically the majority of the cast from Deep Space Nine came back together and did like a 3-episode COVID spinoff of what would have been.
Oh, I think I saw this.
Yeah, I have it as an open tab on my phone. I keep on meaning to watch it, but I've been putting it off for 4 years now.
It is.
I know, right?
One of these days, I'll have time.
I mean, right? Because I distinctly remember, like, it's a spoken word thing, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's on. What's Bashir's actor's name?
Sid City. It's
Alexander Siddig.
It's on his YouTube page. Honestly, that wouldn't be a bad thing to review. Like,
maybe we can look at that next week.
Well, and thank you for putting up Tony Todd, because I'm gonna get a chance to meet him next month.
Oh, do tell.
Do tell.
As you guys may have saw, I announced about a couple weeks ago, I will be a panelist at AwesomeCon here in DC the first weekend in March. The library preservation director is going to be having a panel as part of the science fair. We are on the Friday night at 6:00. The panel before us, the panel before us is Mandalorians, the Borg, and Time Lords. Oh my! In which Ellie McDonald, the science advisor for Star Trek, will be on the panel in the room right before me. So I will be showing up early, possibly in uniform. But Tony
she
Todd
is apparently really tight with one of my good friends, and I keep telling Katie that we've got to get her on.
Yeah, But Tony Todd is going to be there as one of the actors there. And in fact, of looking through, like, you have Hayden Christensen, Rosario Dawson from Star Wars, and basically the whole cast of Ahsoka, the whole cast of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. But the only major Star Trek person I saw is Tony Todd.
Yeah, yeah.
And it will feature a reunion of the cast of Josie and the Pussycats.
Oh.
That is a little random.
Well, Rosario was already going to be there, and they got Rachel Lee Cook and Tara Reid to come on.
That's so funny. That's so funny. I have to admit, I'm kind of surprised you're not at Katsu.
I have friends that go to it all the time. I just but
the costuming is legit.
Yeah.
Right.
And I've been wanting to go to AwesomeCon for years, and never. And the price was always pretty prohibitive. But I'm getting a pro badge. I get access to all 3 days. All I have to do is buy badges for my girls. So I'm going to be there Friday night speaking in the science fair. It's called Guardians of Memory, a day in the life of the preservation director at the Library of Congress.
Mm-hmm.
And then
awesome.
I'll be back on Sunday with my daughters walking around and seeing people. And I'm going to try to get to see Tony Todd.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I never, like when I lived there, I never made it to AwesomeCon either.
Well, one of the first years of AwesomeCon, the library did a complete collaboration with it, in that we had one hallway in the Jefferson Building. It's called Mahogany Row. We basically pulled out all the comic books, all of the memorabilia we had, and this is before we had subsumed Geppi's Museum for Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we still had quite a lot of stuff, including Superman #1 and Captain America #1.
Those are such a bear to preserve.
Yeah,
because the paper quality was just abysmal.
Yeah, and in fact, we were planning a panel for next month. My friend Lily said that she has personally been in the presence of Captain America #1, and it's going to talk about what you have to do to preserve it. But we had Linda Carter come and speak at the library, so we did a full tie-in with AwesomeCon about 10 years ago. So now we're back again doing a panel, and I'm really looking forward to it.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Like,
no pun intended.
If you can, all right. If you can take like loads of pictures.
Oh, I will try.
Nice. That's pretty dope. Like, I wish I could go to that and just watch. Be like, hey.
Well, I had friends saying, "Well, now I have another reason to go to AwesomeCon."
So we covered, actually more so you guys covered Tapestry, and we did our shout out for Black History Month for Tony Todd. Did he, other than Kern and Jake, did he play as any other character in Trek that we may have known of?
He was a Hirogen in Voyager.
Yeah, like Tony Todd has been pretty much anything.
Yeah. Anytime they needed a big guy, he tended to.
A big guy
with
a
big dude.
Some voice. Like,
and of course he was what's the horror movie?
Oh, the Candyman?
Candyman, yes.
Yep.
I saw the Candyman sequel in 2021. Amazing.
I was so like, because I have to admit, I'd seen him as Kern before I saw the Candyman, because it was one of those that came up on syndication, and I was just like, what is Worf's brother doing in a horror movie?
Oh, not just that horror movie, but Final Destination,
which I've never seen.
Oh, yeah, just
also The Crow, The Rock.
I mean, he's been just about everywhere. I mean, he's had such a storied career as a character actor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shout out to Mr. Tony Todd and Keith.
Yeah, he was in Chuck.
Yeah.
Also, you can hear him in Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. God help you.
You know that's his voice. You know that is. Yeah.
He is that. He does. His voice itself is.
I wouldn't be surprised. Other than Transformers, I wouldn't be surprised if he did like a lot of animated work, voice acting.
Oh yeah, he does. He's Scareglow in Masters of the Universe Revolution. That's out now. I was listening to Mission Log, and they're now deep into season 4 of Voyager, and they just did the Killing Game. 1 and 2 was the episode that they released today, but they talked about Yeah, that's on you, Marco.
What?
Marco, we're gonna have to get on a call. I miss you, bud. I miss you.
Yeah, for real. It's been too long, man.
Way too long. Like in the time.
Also, happy belated birthday to you, Marco.
Oh, when was his birthday? Was it like
a bit ago?
A bit ago?
Sometime in the past 365 days.
Well done, Pete.
Well
done.
Belated birthday. Oh.
Also, thanks, because now that damn song is playing in my head. You're a terrible person, Marco.
14th. So if I'm not mistaken, that's Team Capricorn. Happy belated birthday to
Yeah, he is.
14. Actually, not only that, like Jordan, when was your birthday? The January the 5th. Yeah, Jordan was 5th. Yeah, I think that's all I got there for everyone in this room.
December 21st to January 22nd.
Keith, when is your birthday again?
It's at the beginning of January.
It's at the beginning of January, so yes.
So happy belated birthday to you too.
Okay. Okay. Nice. It's just birthday. It's just birthday. That's why I just typed in birthday special. Like, it's,
I got a bit to go.
Well, we had talked about you had said that you wanted to talk about birthdays in Star Trek.
Yeah. Just birthdays in general. Like, how because every Star Trek show has a birthday. Not a birthday episode, but a birthday scene. Like, I mean, you brought up parallels with Worf,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Then there was we had Dr. Bashir's birthday in an episode of Deep Space Nine where he gets shocked by the guy and gets stuck in his own brain.
Oh, I love that.
Yep.
We had B'Elanna's birthday in Voyager where she had to
get on the rickety barge.
No, she had
no. That's not the Klingon death barge episode.
No, she had to shoot with the thing.
Is that the one where they split her down the middle?
No, it's the one where she had to.
Lana's birthday.
The thing Shax always wants to do on lower decks. Eject the warp core. They had to eject the warp core. They had been in negotiation with someone who was a scavenger, and
yes.
And then something happens that they have to eject the warp core, but doesn't blow up, and then the scavenger ends up stealing the warp core.
Oh, it was a trick.
Yeah,
to get them so they could steal the warp core. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that was B'Elanna's birthday in that episode.
Yeah.
The only thing that's coming to mind is Captain Picard Day.
Well, yeah, there's Captain Picard Day, and then Tuvok had his scene. It was the Kess episode where she comes back.
Yes. Before and after.
Yes.
Yes. It ends with her 9th birthday. Yeah. Party. Well, it begins / ends. Yeah.
Even though I appreciated Tuvok's scene, I still don't know why they brought Kess back for that moment. I was perfectly content with her becoming like a star. But anyway, what else did we?
Let's see. I've got the Memory Alpha article on birthdays up, which is
I appreciate this.
A reference anytime somebody mentioned the word birthday.
Because Memory Alpha.
Yes.
Time to compile that information. Which
we went a long time with no Star Trek, so yeah.
Yeah. I think who else? Was there anything?
And I have to admit, like, I mean, it's weird, like what pops into your brain as you're on your like 5th rewatch of something.
I remember
because I finally realized where I'd seen that line of red shirt review sequence that everybody puts up as a meme, and it's from Devil in the Dark.
Oh yeah.
And I had been trying to remember where that was from forever.
I could have sworn it was from Trouble with Tribbles, so that's good to know.
No, it's Devil in the Dark. There's like he's going up and down with these security forces because they're hunting the Horta.
Oh, speaking of Trouble,
that's right. We did have Tuvok's birthday because Janeway made him a cake, and like she had to scour the records to find out when it was because it was like this major secret.
That's funny. And then there was Kirk's birthday where he got
in Wrath of Khan. Yes,
Wrath of Khan. Yeah, interesting day.
Yes. And then again,
weren't those a birthday gift from Dr. McCoy? And that's the beauty of it. They will be again.
But yeah, he gets the book from Spock, and he gets the glasses from McCoy, and then we see him celebrate his birthday again in Star Trek Beyond, and it was the birthday of the age that his father was when his father died. And in fact, we got that in A Strange New Worlds this year with Pike having his in the greatest grand episode we could think of this year, the crossover with Lower Decks, those old scientists.
Beautiful.
Such a weird episode. So glorious at the same time, though.
But he was, because Boimler was trying to get them to celebrate Pike's
birthday, and Pike was having none of it.
He's like, okay, all right, I'm just going to be honest with you. Please stop telling everyone to celebrate my birthday.
Right? Like, I'm having an emotional crisis about this. So
I'm just going to go fishing on a planet without any marine life, drink beer, and be quiet.
because Daddy Pike is also in his 40s.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, well, I got 1 decade to go, so.
Oh, it's gonna come quick, man. Trust me, it's gonna come quick.
It's gonna come quick. I heard that you don't really start feeling it until it's 37. Someone said that to me today. And I'm like, is that true? Because I'm not gonna lie, that mountain climbing really took out my right knee.
You were too young to be saying that.
Hey, not anymore.
How old was I when I climbed the mountain?
Not anymore.
That was 2007. I last climbed the mountain, and my knees were trouble then.
Oh my God. I don't know what I was thinking, but it's
been a minute. It's been a minute since I last did like any sort of climbing.
I'll tell you this: we all climbed the mountain, whereas William Shatner didn't.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what that was. I appreciate that. By the way, shout out to both of you, because that was a very fun review. That was fun.
That was. We need to pick a new one to do.
Actually, yeah, please.
Well, yeah, we have the bit of news that dropped yesterday.
Yes.
April 4th is when Disco is coming out. Disco season 5. 2 episodes are going to release that night. We only have 10 episodes this season, so we're getting the first 2 on April 5th. Or April 4th.
Because clearly they don't understand that I want to sleep.
Yes. And some of us, have to work during the day, so having to watch 4 hours of Star Trek, like, don't do that all the time anyway, but watch it carefully enough so we can review it.
Shh. I can neither confirm nor deny the use of time to watch Star Trek.
Hey, as long as I watch Star Trek in my big moo and my bonnet, and
I love you.
And I have Oreos.
I love you so much.
A cold glass of milk, and I'm there on my couch watching Picard season 3 when the Enterprise comes back, and I'm like, I'm happy. I'm good. Like, the only ambition I have left is to get on Legacy, which means I'm probably gonna have to move to Canada, but who cares?
Okay. And there was a bit of Legacy news that came out today.
Ooh.
Terry Metalis did an interview with Trek Movie in which he was asked, and he said, I can honestly say that there has been no action taken at all on Legacy.
Come on.
Yeah.
I heard that
because once we lose Discovery, that leaves us with Strange New Worlds,
Prodigy, Lower Decks,
and Prodigy on Netflix.
Card's gone already, but then we're going to get Starfleet Academy.
Oh,
are we though?
Yes, they are now writing Starfleet Academy.
That is confirmed.
Yes, they haven't announced any cast yet. Although last week, did you guys talk about last week? They announced the cast for Section 31.
Yes,
no,
I did see that.
You did.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't discussed, but I did see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So now's as good a time as any.
Yeah, let me get that real quick. Hold on.
It's definitely a A-list cast.
Yes. And yes, at least one cast member that's in absolutely everything, and I love him in everything he's been in. So, All right. So Michelle Yeoh, of course,
yes,
being the rock at the center. Sam Richardson, who was also in the Tomorrow War on Amazon and After Party on Apple TV Plus, and he was also in Ted Lasso as the Ghanaian rich man that was trying to buy up all the soccer leagues. See, Casey Roll, Robert Kaczynski, Omari Hardwick, he's known for Kick-Ass and Army of the Dead. Sorry to bother you. And 6 Seasons of Power. Then see, Humberly Gonzalez, James Hiroyuki Lau, and Sven Roigrok. So, I'm A-list, not exactly, but I mean, they're people that have been in some very good shows and movies lately, and people that are on the rise.
I'm kind of sorry to see that Latif's not coming back.
Yeah, everyone was wondering where is Latif, and also there was a rumor of Alexander Siddig as well.
Right.
And but
Right.
that's when it was still talked about as a series and not a movie.
I mean, I guess this begs the question of whether, like, when the Section 31 movie is going to be set, because we still don't actually know what time
Yeah,
she was sent back to. I mean, we don't know what time she's.
Yeah, Carl sent her back to a time to when the universes were closer together.
Yeah, and that's all we know.
And the rumor was that she was going to be sent back to the Picard's time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
so, and that would make sense because Shazad, I'm dying here. Latif's character would not have been alive.
Yes, because at that point it's been 120 years since.
Right, and Klingons are ninja and such, but not that ninja.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I do love about them talking about Discovery, they're talking about looking for this ancient Romulan vessel that's 800 years old, and like, wait a minute, that's the time of Next Generation.
Right. I know.
Jump so far in the future that's not so bad.
Right. Wait. You jump so far into the future, you've hit the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh man. We appear to have lost William.
Okay. So we do need to have talk about birthdays a little bit more, but also, as William pointed out and Jason pointed out in our Discord, this is Black History Month, so we should be making note of all the wonderful Black actors and characters we've had through the years of Star Trek.
True. Yeah. Very, very true.
So next week, Avery Brooks.
We can do Far Beyond the Stars and make us all cry.
Yeah, and maybe I could actually sit down and read. See if there's anything in there.
What is this? What is this read word? You have to have time for that. What? We're too old to have time.
Hey, I've read 11 books so far this year. So.
Good for you.
But audiobooks help, but in comic books. It all counts.
Fair enough. So yeah, Far Beyond the Stars next week. Sounds like a plan. And at 7 minutes over, we are probably good to go.
Yeah. I mean, there's anything else major in the news to discuss, so yeah.
I don't have anything.
Yeah. It's good seeing you again.
Good to see you too. It's nice to it's nice to be back.
Yeah.
It's very nice to be back. And here we are. We have a whole new year of 2024 in which to make interesting choices.
Yes.
So let's all do better.
Oh, too late on that.
Let's all do better.
Okay, William, final words?
Sorry, my MacBook totally died and I just plugged it back up. And as far as words go, I know that Marco has some real quick. Happy birthday. You got happy birthday. You have a move. What?
A shamumu. Oh God.
Marco, get on here.
Marco,
be on here next week. We're talking
here. And something about Audible. Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Audiobooks, I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Thank you for covering, especially in my absence, but thank you for covering Tapestry, and thank you for love seeing everyone's face, and welcoming me into my lovely 30s.
Happy birthday, William.
Happy birthday, William.
Thank you. Today has been an awesome day. Climbed Pinnacle Mountain, posted that I climbed Pinnacle Mountain, and spelled the word climbed wrong. Like I forgot the beat. So now they're gonna know I'm from Arkansas. So
stay true to your roots, my dude. Stay true to your roots, my guy.
I got those 2 degrees for literally nothing.
Yeah, own it. Just own it.
Definitely own it. But
I feel that a lot.
I love you guys so much. And here's to I guess what is technically season 3 of the Trekker's Delight. I know, right? Is it crazy? Like, but anyway, yeah, if nothing else, I think I'm ready to roll that beautiful beam footage, huh? Peace. Wait, Jason, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you being right now? I gotta know.
I'm serious, dude. You got
like 10 out of 10 serious, or picking on Michael serious? Which one?
There is no temperature in space. It's not cold.
What are you serious?
Okay, wait.
Who is? Oh dear God! It just got better.
You said his name.
Welcome to the party, Michael.
No, that is not how we're gonna end the episode because Keith actually has like a legitimate news update. He knows shit, and we should possibly like convey that knowledge.
That's my favorite line. He knows shit.
It's just like a black and red mound. It's like.
Why are you describing yourself?
What the hell?
Hello from Manny.
Hey, Virgil.
Hey,
Virgil.
welcome.
Hello, Virgil. Welcome. Who are you?
Who?